Let's start with Super Saiyan 1. It's a reactive trauma response. The Super Saiyan 1 is achieved in the hyperbolic time chamber. And the Super Saiyan 1 we can see it in bursts. And those bursts are explained by this primal reactive response to stress. It's not a love for fighting. We can see that Goku tells him into the hyperbolic time chamber, you have to think about the time where your friends were hurt. Imagine me or your friends getting hurt. This is how he is forcing him to become a Super Saiyan 1. Their instinctual drives, they're reactive bursts, and they're really unconscious. He's not thinking. He's thinking about those moments, but they're those survival instincts and responses which ultimately causes the Super Saiyan 1 transformation. They're a response to the trauma and the violence, the terror. They're not driven by the ego or desire for battle, but by primal survival instincts. And then the Lacanian Trauma is the shattering of the innocence, the Super Saiyan 2 transformation, the Cell Junior's attacking his family, Android 16's death. It's the violent psychological break from unbearable pain, and that dark piece is put into the puzzle, and that shatters his reality of peace. It's a confrontation with the real, that he has this trauma, and it's a catalyst to finally fulfilling his prophecy. And it destroys his sense of peace. He says, I can feel it slipping. And he says, I will not watch this anymore. And then we have one of the most special transformation. And that's really is a highlight of the Jungian integration of the shadow. Yes, Super Saiyan 2 was, but this is more subtle. It's the mystic Gohan transformation. He finally, and this transformation wasn't a transformation like the others, whereas he was pushed to a breaking point. This transformation was, he was seeking strength beyond the reactive response. This is where he tried to get ahead of his trauma, and he was striving for an inner wholeness, that inner puzzle that we saw, so he can finally harness this power. He's finally integrating his self with his shadow. And this is the ritual he goes through, is really symbolizing the healing process that he's trying to do. He's been solely defined by trauma, and now he's trying to find strength, not in a reactive way, but he tries to integrate it with his desire for peace. This is why it's not a raw transformation. It's a transformation that is peaceful and achieved by the ultimate sign of peace, which is the elder supreme Kai. And it's really a pacific transformation. It's a conscious one we see, and not just a default from his personality. That's where we can say that it's a subtle integration with his shadow self. And then comes the most beast, raw, the strongest transformation. Gohan's prophecy, destiny, is finally fulfilled once and for all. It took not once, but it took 2 times for Gohan to finally become Beast Gohan and become Gohan. The Beast transformation is re-emergence and a misunderstanding of his true nature, really. This is finally the adaptive integration of Jung's shadow. And let's go back a little. How is the Beast transformation triggered? It's triggered by a perceived traumatic threat to his family. Piccolo transformed to Piccolo Orange and went giant, and he almost dies. And that shows that there's a trigger there, which he felt it slipping again. We can even hear his childhood's voice when he transforms, and the primal instinct, the primal voice, and the primal yell, the rage, re-emerges in response to a perceived danger. It's a reminder that the trauma is still ongoing, even if that after periods of growth. So the beast, even though the beast transformation is monstrous and primal, you can say, people will say, oh, this is his finally embracing his Saiyan side. He's finally becoming Gohan. He's finally fulfilling his prophecy, but it's not fulfilling his prophecy in that way. Not becoming more like Goku. It's a more complex picture. It's not about becoming a battle-hungry Saiyan, but he's finally able to maneuver his shadow and those primal protective instincts that he has within him for the sake of his core values. Finally, family and peace. He's finally able to wield this power of his shadow into this misunderstood beast form that is still driven by protection and rooted in traumatic responses, guys. Never forget this. The transformation itself, we can hear Gohan scream when he became a Super Saiyan 2, and is channeled for a purpose of protection. And it's really a paradox, guys, because when you think about it, the beast form is, he's fast. He has this red and purple glow around him. But it was a power that was accessed in extreme emergency. It was just a powerful defense mechanism born from trauma and love that he finally was able to wield. And it was finally, he was embracing himself for who he was, and finally striving away from this gaze that he had from Vegeta and Goku. And he still fights, not because he wants, but because he must.